Noticed the loudest track talkers are the ones that know the least. Like, bro, what are you even talking about? All that noise and you haven't even got your facts straight? You're running out here running your mouth like you're Mel Kiper Jr., but everywhere that comes out of your mouth is straight wrong? You confidently are incorrect. You built entire personality around being wrong loudly? It's wild. These are the same people that argue with stats, argue with film, argue with reality itself. You can show them receipts. You can show them the tape and they'll say, nah, that's not what happened. Like, bro, are we watching different film? Are we watching different leagues? Do you have ESPN 13 or something? Like, what? The best part about it is when they're finally proven wrong. Dead wrong. They just moved the goalposts. Well, that's not what I meant. No, that's exactly what you meant when you're puffing your chest out 2 weeks ago acting like you're an expert. So to all those self-proclaimed know-it-alls out there, if you're gonna talk, at least know what you're talking about. Otherwise, sit down, grab a notebook, and listen to Man Hour NFL Talk and take some notes. Because I know what I'm talking about. I do my homework, and I know that the Houston Texans are complete trash. Because at the end of the day, being loud and wrong does not make you smart. It makes you just a clown in the room. So as the people say in the comments, put down the bong, Buck, you crazy. Hold my beer and cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Welcome to Man NFL and Our NFL Talk, your go-to spot for live, raw, uncut NFL talk, and I'm so glad you're rolling with us today. But before we jump into today's action, guys, head over to manhourradio.com. That's where you can find the exclusive merchandise, the blogs, and everything that's happening with the show. So if you're rocking the Man Hour, that is a spot to rep it. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe so you never miss a live interactive show. That's the easiest way to stay plugged in with us. But if you want the full Man Hour experience, if you want the full, live, raw, uncut experience, become a Big Sam Pundit. Guys, that is our members-only community. You get free entry into all the weekly NFL pick'ems, giveaways, exclusive merchandise, and, of course, the bonus live streams that only our Pigskin Pundits get. So if you want that next level access, guys, join the squad today. Now, remember, this is a live interactive show, so drop your thoughts, drop your opinions, and drop your hottest of the hottest takes down below, because I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you, Mellow Mike. Guys, Mellow Mike is in the chat today. He says, did you see that joke shot from Mahomes? I thought he had no reflexes, baby. My man. We know damn well the Jacksonville Jaguars took that game away. We know damn well that Patrick Mahomes is still the man, the myth, the legend. And we know damn well that no matter what you say, you are going to be wrong. But yes, we did see the Monday night game. We talked about that last night. We talked about it Monday night as well. Or we talked about it last night. I should say about the Monday night game. But you know what? It is. Mellow Mike also says, Buck, you had got the game same as we had them. Mahomes choked on the one baby. For us, CJ Gardner-Johnson was freelancing and cost us a 21.3 point lead. We lost 3 games by 1 scores, possessions. You're not wrong, Mellow Mike. You are not wrong 100%. Now, however, if you would have tuned in yesterday, my man, I know you were kind of like scared and whatnot. You were scared of what was going to happen But the truth of the matter is that we sat there. I'm trying to fix the chat here. We sat there and we talked about how good your Houston Texans were last night. We talked about how good those Houston Texans were last night, baby. What is going on? Why can't I adjust this? I don't know what's going on with the chat today, guys. Yeah, we'll figure it out at some point. I think we'll figure it out at some point. But it is what it is. Sorry. I was messing around pre-show and trying to work the coach row, but whatever. Mello Michael says, CJ Garner-Johnson. Gone 2 games, Texas 2-0. Coincidence? I think not, baby. Mello Mike, listen. CJ Garner-Johnson got cut, week 4, right? Week 4. And when you look at the Houston Texans, yes, they've been battling a little bit back and forth. Yes, they've had all these one-score games, but let's just be honest. You played not so great teams the last couple weeks. Let me rephrase that. You have played not so great teams the last couple weeks. Matter of fact, you played some, where's the look we're looking for? Oh, yeah, shit teams. You played some shit teams. You played the Tennessee Titans for crying out loud. The worst team in the NFL. Shut them out 26-0. And then you played a battered and bruised Baltimore Ravens team. Because weren't you just saying back in week 4 when the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Baltimore Ravens, oh, they have 6 defensive starters out. Whatever. Yada, yada. Okay. You can't use that argument against the Kansas City Chiefs. They had 6 defenders out. Well, this last week, week number 5, when the Houston Texans went into Baltimore, Maryland, and beat the Ravens 44-10, they had 6 starters out as well. They also had no Lamar Jackson. They had Cooper Rush at their quarterback. And you dogging about that win? Now, I just want you to slow it down, baby. Now, you do play the Seahawks this coming week. You play the 49ers the coming week. And then you play the Broncos and the Jaguars yet again. If you can go 500 in that stretch, Mellow Mike, if you can go 500 in that stretch to be 5-6 going to the Tennessee Titans game November 16th, 2025, then, just maybe, then we might be having a different conversation. Because right now, until then, it's not going to happen. Until then, right now, it is not going to happen. The Tennessee Titans are overrated, overhyped, and how do I put this politely, Mellow Mike? They trash, baby. They are trash. No, I'm just playing. But prove me wrong. Prove me that you can beat the Seattle Seahawks. Prove me that you can beat the San Francisco 49ers. Prove me that you can beat the Denver Broncos, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then the Buffalo Bills and the Colts and the Chiefs and the Cardinals. Prove me you can beat those teams, and then we might be changing our tune. But right now, overrated. Overrated. That's how it's going to be. Laura Johnson, Henderson, the chat today. Laura Johnson.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Laura is a pigskin pundit, and she says, good evening, man, our nation. What's up, Laura? What's up? Well, thank you for joining us today, Laura. And then Mike says, Texans have been injured the last few seasons. Nobody gives us the benefit of the doubt either. New offense is finally clicking. Seahawks and Broncos will show they are real. They're real frauds is what you mean, right? They'll show you that they're real frauds because the Broncos are overrated. Seahawks, a little overrated as well. I think people are kind of like, don't know what to think of the Seahawks because, you know, they lose to the 49ers and then they beat it's just, you don't know what the Seahawks are going to You don't know what Seahawks team you're going to get. But the Broncos, they're going to come press because the Broncos played the Super Bowl last Sunday, and it's going to reflect when they get beat down by the New York Jets at 9 a.m. here on the East Coast on Sunday. Will Olsen's in the chat today as well. He says the Texans might have the best defense in the NFL. They do have a pretty good defense. We will give them that. We will give credit where credit is due. They're definitely a top 5. The best, maybe not so much, but definitely a top 5. Because when I look at defenses around the NFL, you still got to give credit to the Kansas City Chiefs. Still got a pretty good, damn good defense. The Jacksonville Jaguars still got a pretty damn good defense. The Eagles still pretty damn good defense. And then you got the Houston Texans. And you know what? Let's slide the Rams up there too. The Rams got a pretty good defense as well. Let's just call it how it is. And then your Kansas City Chiefs, as Mellow Mike, have the same record as us. If we're trash and overtraded, what are the Kansas City Chiefs? The Kansas City Chiefs are a little underrated right now, Mellow Mike. Because look who we played. Look who we beat, right? We beat the Baltimore Ravens, a team that you're pounding your chest about. We beat the New York Giants, a highly underrated team. They lost to the Chargers, the Eagles, and the Jaguars. All very, very good quality opponents. Now, the Chargers are this loss to the Chargers is going to look a little bit more skewed now that the Chargers are coming back down to reality, right? They were up here, but now they're coming back down here, right where they belong, middle of the pack. But you know what? Kansas City Chiefs will be just fine. Not this week versus the Lions, but next week after the Raiders, week 7, they're going to start to roll. Commanders, they're going to start to roll getting some Monday Night Football yet again. And then we go to Buffalo Bills and kind of get smacked in the face a little bit. And then bada bing, bada boom, 7-8 wins in a row, baby. It's coming, and coming. And Mellow Mike wants to still continue to boost up his Houston Texans. Will Anderson Jr. is a Defense Player of the Year candidate, 100%. 100%. Him and Lloyd, Devin Lloyd, right, from the Jacksonville Jaguars are all definitely Defensive Player of the Year candidates. I will give you that, Mellow Mike. You guys got a good defense, and yes, defense does win championships. However, your offense does score a little bit of points. Just a little bit of points. Laura says this game that's currently on, meaning the Eagles versus the Giants, is a good one. Laura, do not spoil it to me. I have it on pause. It's right there. I'm like, halfway through the first quarter. Do not spoil it for me. If you do, I will swear I will punch you straight in the throat. And I hope you step in gum for every Tuesday for the rest of your life. Do not spoil it for me. Do not spoil it for me. But, guys, let's get into today's show, and let's talk about something that kind of shocked everybody Wednesday night. Because late Wednesday night, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns swapped quarterbacks in a move that caught most people off guard. Let's just be honest. Tyson Campbell is heading to Cleveland, and Greg Newsome II is heading to Jacksonville, with some late round 2026 picks thrown in to even out the deal. So let's break this one down, because this trade actually says a lot about where both of these franchises are headed in the 2025 NFL season. So here's how it went down. The Jaguars sent Tyson Campbell in a 2026 7th-round pick that they originally got from the Eagles to the Browns in exchange for Greg Newsome II for a 2026 6th-round pick originally from the New York Football Jets. Simple enough on paper, right? But this move goes way, way deeper than just a player swap. Greg Newsome is a 2021 first-round pick. This is the final year of his rookie deal, playing on that $13.38 million fifth-year option. Meanwhile, Campbell just signed a 4-year, $76.5 million extension this past offseason, with $53 million of it guaranteed. Guaranteed $1 bill show. So that right there tells you everything you need to know. Jacksonville wanted to shed a future franchise burden and get a player who fits their new defense and identity under Anthony Capinelli. From the Jag side, this trade was strategic. I'm saying that right? Strategic. Campbell has battled injuries over the last couple seasons, hamstring, shoulder, thigh, and even when he's healthy, he's been struggling to return to that 2022 Pro Bowl caliber form. Now, the Jags GM, James Gladstone, said this wasn't a rental move. He made it clear. We think Greg Newsome helps us win football games right now. This tells me, guys, the Jacksonville Jaguars are in a win-now mode. They think they can win the AFC South. They think they can go to the Super Bowl right now. Now, with that being said, they are leading the AFC South right now. Their defense has been strong, but inconsistent as of late, and now they add a guy, Newsome, who plays with more vision and fits better in that zone-heavy look. They shred Campbell's big deal, free up some cap flexibility down the road, and get a corner who's hungry to prove himself in a new system. But now let's flip to the Cleveland Browns side. The Browns have been aggressive this past week. They traded Joe Flacco to the Bengals, which we talk about here that in a little bit again, added left tackle Cam Robertson, and now bringing in Tyson Campbell. This move makes sense for a couple seasons. They're betting on talent. Simple as that. Campbell is 25, and at his best, he is a true number one corner. Cleveland believes that in Jim Schwartz's defense, where corners are trusted to play press and attack routes, Campbell can return to his 2022 Pro Bowl form. Newsome was also set to be a free agent after this season. Instead of losing him for nothing, they flip him for a guy already under contract through 2028. So both teams got what they wanted. The Jaguars get a cheaper scheme fit guy with upside, and the Browns get a long-term piece with the premium position. This is actually the second trade between these two teams in 6 months. Remember when Jacksonville Jaguars moved up with Cleveland back in April to grab Travis Hunter, the second overall pick? There's clearly a strong line of communication between these two front offices, and both seem that to be in the mindset we're not waiting around. Gladstone even said this might be the Jaguars' last move before, or may not be the last move for the Jaguars before November 4th trade line. And I believe him. Jacksonville is pushing to lock up the AFC South early, while Cleveland is trying to stay alive in a brutal AFC North, that beating each other up weekly. So, guys, here's my honest take. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, this is a smart football move. They save money, they improve scheme fit, and they stay aggressive in a season where they look like they're legit AFC contenders. Now, for the Browns, this is a pure gamble. Campbell has talent, no doubt about it, but his health has been an issue, and losing a versatile guy like Greg Newsome, especially when you're already shorthanded in the secondary, could bite them in the butt early and often. But I'll say this. Both teams made food that fit their current direction. Jacksonville is building for a playoff push, and Cleveland is retooling on the fly. So I'm going to throw this to you guys, Man Hour Nation. Who won this trade? Jacksonville Jaguars or the Cleveland Browns? Was it the Jaguars getting a cleaner scheme, cheaper fit in Greg Newsome, or the Browns locking in long-term corner in Tyson Campbell? Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. This is a live interactive show. I want to hear from you. And if you love this type of breakdown, guys, make sure to hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and remember, we're live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. East Coast time right here at YouTube.com. Now let's get into the comments and let's discuss your thoughts, baby. First things first, says the Chiefs are winning on Sunday Night Football. I want to agree with you, but we'll talk about it later. Mellow Mike says, be real. The Texans have lost games to teams they should have beaten in years past. Jets, Titans, Falcons, Panthers. Those 2 weeks we did not do what we're supposed to do. Dominate inferior teams. Not wrong. Mellow Mike says the best part of D'Amico turned play calling over to Matt Burke was a CEO coach. Pre-snap penalties and game management has improved. We're not talking about the Texans anymore. We talked about them yesterday a lot. Jaguars have faded when jumped out into the early division. Indy hasn't faced a legit defense. Texans are a team you wanted to play early while they figure things out. Titans, nobody remembers them. True. Will Lawson said the Jags defense has the most takeaways in the league with 14. Will, you are exactly right. Matter of fact, I think in the first 5 games so far this season, this is the first team ever to have multiple takeaways in the first 5 games of the regular NFL season. That is tough. That is tough. That is tough. That is tough. James Frank says, I like Greg, but I'm all right with Campbell coming over. He can be nice with Denzel Ward. Listen, the Browns defense could be very, very nice yet again. They could be very, because we've seen them play decent football, James, versus the Green Bay Packers back in week 3, right? Week 3 or week 4, whatever it was. They have when they play well, the Browns are a pretty good team. I like the change. However, can they afford it long term? Because they're going to have to move around a lot of salary cap to really make this work. Because they're already over the cap as is. Myles Garrett's way overpaid. Let's just be honest. Mr. I want out, but money's here. Okay, I'll stay here. Plus, you don't have a quarterback. Mellow Mike says Gladstone is the GM on that chat GPT bullshit. Not wrong. Not wrong, I guess. Mellow Mike says Newsome is better than Campbell. Jags won the deal. I think Greg Newsome has a lot to prove, right? Greg Newsome is that type of player that is on a contract year. And when players are on contract years, they like to ball out. They like to show no mercy, show no, what's the word I'm looking for? Pain and all that. Like, they are out there. However, what I'm worried about, as my chair starts to break, I need to get a new one, damn it. As we see a lot of these players that get paid, when they get paid, Ja'Jarius Sneed is one of them, their performance goes down really, really quick. They start working hard, right? They're like, I got that deal. I got those dollar bills, yo. But then they're like, I'm not going to try so hard. Off-season workouts, not so much. Oh, this injury's a little bit worse than I thought it was. That is what I'm worried about with Greg Newsome and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right, Greg Newsome II. That's what I'm worried about. And James says Duval is going to get mad at Newsome celebrations after a QB clearly overthrows their wide receivers and he thinks he did something. Hey, James, I will never, ever be mad at a defensive player celebrating offensive miscues. When an offensive quarterback overthrows you by 15 yards and Greg Newsome is locking him down, kicking in the door, whatever he's got to do, celebrate that, baby. Let the offense know that they suck. Let them know that they suck over and over and over again. Because when you have a concrete defense and you hit up my man Wes Sexton from Elite Concrete Foundation and he lays that concrete floor for you and it is a solid concrete and you celebrate it, let it know. Let them know, let them know, let them know. Especially let them know that Buck sent you. Say some $1 bills, y'all. Oh, man. River's in the chat.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
What up, old man River? It says, Mellow Mike, think about this. Campbell was traded to justify the Travis Hunter pick. Newsome is a slot corner. Hunter is a new cornerback one. Didn't earn that job. I will concur with you on this. I think Travis Hunter is a better defensive player than offense. And I think by justifying this move for a slot corner, that Greg Newsome, those are your words, not mine. I don't know if he's really a slot corner. He's just kind of the guy, right? But if you want to call him a slot corner, yes, justify it. I think Travis Hunter can be elite if he chooses one side of the ball, or not if he chooses one side. If the coaching staff in Jacksonville makes him choose one side of the ball, he's going to be a receiver, he's going to be a quarterback, then he can be elite. But right now, he's just going to be a middle of the pack average player. That's just what it is. It's what it is, what it is, what it is. James Frank says Newsome gets torched a lot. Trust me. The seasons he's played all right, but still gives up a lot. James, high risk, high reward, baby. High risk, high reward. If I'm going for the ball and I miss it, shit happens when you party naked. But when I go get that ball and I take it from you and then I lock you down, that's game changing, baby. So what do you want? Do you want to be good, or you want to be average, or do you want to be great and elite? Think about that. I want to be great and elite. I want Greg Newsome doing those high risk, high reward plays. Hell yeah. Brandon says, LOL. Mike, you here too? Listen, Brandon, welcome back. I think you were here yesterday, right? Welcome back. Mellow Mike is here when he wants to talk shit about the Houston Texans. He should have been here yesterday, but he is everywhere, he says. He is everywhere. And Brandon says, no way the Jags can play their guys now. Travion Walker, Devin Lloyd, Newsome, Anton Harrison, Strange, all need to get paid, baby. They do need to get paid. However, there are 3 teams that had over $100 million in cap space before the NFL season started. That was the Jacksonville Jaguars, that was the Las Vegas Raiders, and I believe it was the Seattle Seahawks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but there were 3 teams that had over that $100 million cap space. Jaguars got room to pay some players. Trevor Lawrence just should have got the pot time. As simple as that. Because he's not going to get paid if he keeps playing this average ball. Now, if he play like he did on Monday night, baby, we coming. He going to the moon, baby. But they got money. They got money. Old Member says Jaguars may take over the division. Texans, they keep playing like this. Guys, you understand that the Colts are the cream of the crop right now. You understand the Colts are sitting at 4-1 right now. You understand the Colts are going to the Super Bowl, baby, right now. You got to overtake yourselves before you even think about first place. Because once you get second place, then you're still looking at the Colts like, Colts, Daddy, can I come up there and hang out with you? Can I sit on the couch with you, Daddy? As you guys know, I'm dogging the Indianapolis Colts because last night I said they're not a Super Bowl team. They're going to fall off the face of the earth coming up very, very soon. Brandon says Hines Allen and Lawrence were already paid. Lawrence was paid, 2 years ago, right? 3 years ago. His contract is coming up. His contract's coming up. Hines Allen, I'm not for sure what his contract's at. But if I'm a betting man, Hines Allen better get paid before Trevor Lawrence does again for the second time around. I'm not for sure what Trevor Lawrence's contract is. I think he's on his third year, right? Fourth year? I'm not for sure. After being extended. So correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not been following Jaguars as closely the last couple years, but since they're talking about news right now with Greg Newsome, we got to talk about him. Mellow Mike says, however, the Jags paid over for Hansen imitation at quarterback. Bop they did. Google's Daniel Jones. You can Google Daniel Jones all you want. Daniel Jones earned his $1 bills, yo. He earned that money. It's not his fault that Giants are like, we don't need Saquon Barkley. We don't need a receiver. We don't need a defense. That's not his fault. That is not his fault that he played at an MVP level and then got his $1 bills, yo. And then the team's like, oh, we don't need anybody. But a player that is playing at an MVP level, a team that everybody has been doubting and dumped and dragged through the mud year after year after year, now this might be your MVP frontrunner, and that is the one and only Baker freaking Mayfield. Guys, yes, that Baker Mayfield, the guy that everybody said was washed, toxic, done with football after bouncing around 4 teams in 3 years. Well, guess what? The man, the myth, the legend, he's back. He's playing his best football of his career down there in Tampa Bay. Guys, the Buccaneers are 4-1 right now. 4-1. And it's just not 4-1. They've won 4 games in the final minutes of comebacks. That's by far the most of any team in the first 5 weeks of the season since the NFL mergers in 1970. Baker's just not playing well. He's commanding his team. He's thrown for 1,283 yards, 10 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. That is a 10-to-1 touchdown interception ratio for the people that are not very good with math. That is tied for 3rd most touchdowns in the NFL, 4th in passing yards, and he's completing passes with elite precision. Against the Seahawks last week, 379 yards, 4 incompletions. 4! That's the first time in NFL history a player has ever done that. So yeah, this isn't the same Baker that we saw in Cleveland or Carolina or in LA. This guy has matured, he's found his swagger, and finally landed in a place that lets him be himself. A freak of nature, the man, the myth, the legend, and Baker freaking Mayfield. Now let's rewind it just a little bit. Let's put it in the way back form just to make James just a little bit cranky, because back in Cleveland, Baker was the cocky, fiery first overall pick. 23-year-old, chip on his shoulder, attitude on full blast. Fans loved him at first and then turned him in when the winds dried up. But down in Tampa, that same energy hits a little bit different. After the Bucs' 38-35 win over Seattle, a video surfaced of Baker jawing with Seahawks fans before kickoff. Fingers pointing, expletive flying, vintage Baker Mayfield. He told the fan, and I quote, "You're going to be real quiet at halftime." Then after the win, he found that fan again, went down while skipping down into the tunnel. Old Baker would have been criticized for that, but now fans are calling it moxie. They're calling it leadership. Like he said himself, early in my career, it was cocky and immature. Now it's moxie and he's a dog. Same stuff, different day. The only difference now is he is winning. And when you win, their narrative changes. Baker been clear. He feels free in Tampa Bay. He said it multiple times. They let me be myself. And you can see it. His teammates are feeding off that fire. Wide receiver Shirley Shepard, who played with him back in Oklahoma, said it best. He's not scared to bite back at somebody trying to get at him. And we all love that. Everybody feeds off his energy. Even the defensive side, Hassan Reddick, who's trying to revive his own career, said, "We got nothing but confidence in Bake. He's balling, and he's unprecedented level. My MVP right now is Baker freaking Mayfield." Think about that, guys. MVP talk around Baker Mayfield. 2 years ago, that sentence would have been a punchline. Today, it is a legitimate conversation. Here's the part that hits home the best. Baker hasn't changed who he is. He has just matured into it. He's now 30, a husband, a dad, and a guy who's learned how to channel that chip on his shoulder in the right way. Off the field, he's Baker, and Emily Mayfield Foundation is quietly helping smaller nonprofits across Tampa. He's given back. He's grounded. But come game day, that fire is still there. He told reporters that this week, at the core, I'm definitely the same. but I matured in different ways. I'm not worried about the little things that don't matter. But in a competitive football game, that will never change. I am unapologetic Baker freaking Mayfield. So, guys, let's talk about it. Is Baker Mayfield an MVP candidate in the 2025 NFL season? And if we're being honest, yes, he deserves to be in that conversation. 10 touchdowns, 1 pick, 4 game-winning drives, and Tampa Bay sitting at the top of the NFC South post-Tom Brady. And here's the best part. He's not chasing the MVP narrative. He told reporters this week, whatever's being said is a testament to the offense and the group we have. You have never done it alone. That's growth. That's leadership. This is no longer the Baker Mayfield story. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers comeback story. Baker has always been Baker Mayfield. The only thing that's changed is his context. He's not the villain anymore in Cleveland. He's the comeback story of the NFL season, a guy who went unwanted to unstoppable. And if the Bucs keep winning like this, the MVC conversation isn't hype, it's reality. So let me ask you guys this question. Has Baker Mayfield officially redeemed himself? Is he a legit MVP candidate or just another early season hot streak down there in Tampa? Drop your thoughts down below. This is a live interactive show. I want to hear from you and hear what you think at the end of the day. But before we head out, guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. East Coast time for at least the next 3 weeks until the end of the high school football season, and then we'll be back on the Friday show. So, guys, let's get into your comments. Oh, man, River.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Says, oh, hell yeah. I love me some Baker Mayfield. I think we all love us some Baker Mayfield. Brandon says, Eagles defense not being able to slow down the Giants is surprising. Hey, don't ruin the game for me, Brandon. Come on, Brandon. Come on, Brandon. Hey, I got the game on pause. It's still 0-0. No, but if you guys are watching the game, definitely enjoy it. I do love me some live football games. Mellow Mike says, what we have seen is Baker growing up in front of our eyes. Who he was at Oklahoma/Cleveland is not who he is now. McVay rehabbed, get a McVay coordinator in Tampa. Listen, I loved Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma. When he went on to that Jayhawk and went out to shake their hands and say, no, we're better than you. And he like, yeah, take that. I knew right then and there Baker Mayfield was going to be a dog in the NFL. He was already a dog in college, right? Let's not worry about that. The minute he did that, I knew he was going to have that chip on the shoulder and be a dog in the NFL. I did not realize it was going to take him 6 years to become that dog or to have that team that respects that dog. But he is a very, very fierce competitor, and that's exactly what Will Olsen says. Baker is a fierce competitor, but the Buccaneers are overrated. The Niners will beat them on Sunday. That's going to be a great game. This is going to be a flashback to, early 90s-ish, right? When the Cowboys, 49ers, the Buccaneers, and the Packers were all kind of in that struggle hold type of thing. Yes, the Buccaneers did not quite last as long as the Packers and the Cowboys and the 49ers, but they were up there for a couple years, right? Old Man River says, I'm still pissed he isn't a Raider. Old Man River, who wants to be a Raider? Geno Smith doesn't want to be a Raider. Baker Mayfield certainly didn't want to be a Raider. Hell, Amari Cooper went to Las Vegas and saw old Geno Smith, and Pete Carroll's like, I'm out. Deuces. Nobody wants to be a Raider. So you can be pissed all you want. Baker would not be thriving in Vegas the way he is in being at Tampa. Let's just be honest. Mellow Mike says, getting Jerry Jones getting that 250 bird. This man lied worse than a politician. Was bantering with our fans. NFL. No, we read your lips, gave the bird, and your lips said F you. You ain't John Cena. Did Jerry Jones get fined $250,000 for that? That is tough. But Mellow Mike says Dak Prescott and Baker Mayfield are both front runners for MVP right now. Now, you got to respect what you're saying there, Mellow Mike. Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind right now. Baker Mayfield is playing out of his mind right now. You know who else is playing out of his mind right now? Daniel Jones. Got to put respect on some Daniel right now. Now it's still only week 5. Slow it down, baby. They play the Dolphins, Titans, and Raiders. Slow it down, baby. But hey, throw them up there. And James Frank says, let me pound it from my chest. Baker for MVP, damn it. Put some respect on the man's name. I agree. Joe Flacco for governor of Cincinnati. Slow it down. We're going to be talking about Joe Flacco here in a minute, old man. Remember, slow it down. And James Frank, I knew this was going to piss you off. He says, I'm still pissed Mayfield ain't a Cleveland Brown. I would be mad too. Actually, at football practice today with my man West and like Shay, we were saying, no, it was Shay. It was a player. It was Peyton, right? We were saying Baker Mayfield played with a torn labrum in his shoulder, led the Browns to the playoffs. I think they were playing the Kansas City Chiefs that year in the playoffs at Arrowhead, lost to the Chiefs with the torn labrum, and then the next year you let the man go? You let him walk away? I think you did they trade him or let him walk away to Carolina? He was like, we out. Baker, you're too much drama for us. Yes, we understand you led us to the playoffs. Yes, we understand you led us on the hurt shoulder. Like, what? We want OBJ. We want OBJ. OBJ's dad just made a highlight tape of you missing wide open receivers, and we're taking him over you. That's what boiled it down to. And where's OBJ now? Suspended till week 12 of the NFL season for taking HGH. Who made the right decision there? Will Olsen said Geno should be benched for Kenny Pickett or Aiden O'Connell. Well, Aiden O'Connell's still on IR for the next 4 weeks minimum, right? Probably out for the rest of the season. But yes, Kenny Pickett should definitely start in Vegas. We'll be talking about that coming up here. See that down there, Will, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments down? We'll be talking about Geno Smith. Mellow Mike says, Daniel Jones, just treat it like an asterisk. When they face a real defense, he won't be the MVP list anymore. We'll wait and see. Mellow Mike, I want to tend to agree with you. But we won't see that till early November when they play the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is our first true test of the entire NFL season. It's just, they have a very, very favorable schedule. And favorable schedule that is meeting headlines is in Miami right now. Tua is expected to play on Sunday versus the Chargers despite battling injuries in both hips and his left thumb. Guys, Tua is hurt right now. His whole lower body is hurting, and his left thumb is hurting. Oh, by the way, he's a left-handed quarterback. So let's break it down because there's a lot more to the story than just Tua is playing. Because Tua's injuries have been an issue his whole career. Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith confirmed today, that Tua was limited in Wednesday's practice and those hips and thumbs injuries. But the staff isn't overly concerned. It's kind of weird, right? Smith said today, quote, ultimately, he's working through stuff for the week, and we're not overall concerned for Sunday. Translation, he's hurting, but he's playing. Translation, he's hurting, but we don't give a rat's ass. Translation, our jobs are on the line, so Tua, you better figure yourself out because it's you or us at the end of the day. And honestly, this is who Tua has been his whole career, a competitor who plays through pain. But let's not ignore the obvious. This is the same hip that's given him issues since college. And added a thumb injury on his throwing hand, that's not nothing. The Dolphins are down big right now, and they need him more than ever. Let's keep it real. Tua's health has always been this biggest storyline of his whole career. In 2022, he missed 5 games with multiple concussions. You all remember, right? Last season, he missed 6 games with another concussion and a hip injury. And here we are again. Same story, new season. This year was supposed to be different. Miami rewarded him with a massive 4-year, $212.1 million contract, expecting him to be a long-term answer. But through 5 weeks, you can already feel the frustration from the fan base and even from inside the building. Head coach Mike McDaniels admitted earlier this week that owner Stephen Ross is really frustrated. And honestly, who can pay him? You hand your quarterback $200 million and you're starting at 1-4? Arguably the worst team in the NFL? And here's where the narrative gets tricky. Because while Miami's record looked ugly, Tua really isn't the problem. He's tied for third in the NFL with 10 touchdowns passes. And over his last 2 games, he's thrown for 433 yards and 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He's protecting the ball, making right reads, and honestly showing that when he's healthy, he is one of the most accurate pass rushers in football, making Tyreek Hill not a liar. Even though he is a liar, but he's not a liar, but you guys get the stiff. The problem is the rest of the Dolphins. The offensive line hasn't protected him. The running game has been inconsistent at best. The defense, once their strength, has completely fallen apart. And injuries across the board have turned what is to look like a playoff team into a group searching for answers in the number 1 overall pick. Guys, the Dolphins did make one smart move this offseason, signing Zach Wilson as Tua's backup and drafting Quinn Ewers out of Texas in the 7th round. Wilson hasn't seen any action yet, but with Tua banged up again, Miami fans are holding their breath. This isn't a team built to survive without Tua. The offense is designed around his timing, his rhythm, and his anticipation, all of which makes him special when he's on the field. But if he goes down, the Dolphins' season could spiral out of control even faster. So what's really going on here? The Dolphins aren't just fighting injuries, they're fighting their identity. This team is built to win now, supposedly, right? They extended Tua. They still got Tyreek Hill, even though he's injured. He's not going to sign next year, but whatever. They still got Jalen Waddle. Not too much, right? And a defense that's supposed to be loaded with playmakers, but they're all injured. But at 1-4, with the frustration mounting and your star quarterback nursing multiple injuries, it feels like the season is hanging on by a thread. Frank Smith said they're not anticipating any setbacks, but we've heard that all before. At some point, the Dolphins have to stop hoping Tua was still healthy and start building around and protecting him. Because if he keeps taking hits, that $212 million contract to turn into an expensive regret. Guys, here is my take. This week's game against the LA Chargers is a make or break for Miami. It's simple as that. If Tua guts it out and leads the team to a win, it might rejuvenate their season. If he struggles or worse, aggravates that hip again, the Dolphins' playoff hopes, matter of fact, their season could be dead by Halloween. Tua's got talent. He's shown the leadership, but the Dolphins need to start helping him. This franchise is going to waste another elite quarterback with poor roster balance and bad protection, a.k.a. Dan Marino. So, but I'll throw it to you guys. Should the Dolphins rest Tua and think long-term, or should they let him play through it and see if he can save their season? Guys, drop your thoughts down below. This is a live interactive show. I want to hear your take. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. East Coast time, right here at youtube.com. Mellow Mike says, teams pivot off young quarterbacks too early. Sam Darnold, Baker, Geno, and now Mac Jones show. The functional teams screw up decent quarterback talents by not knowing how to build a team. Mellow Mike, coaching, NFL GMs, ownership don't want to invest time into quarterbacks and developing quarterbacks. Because we've seen Jane Daniels come in and destroy the NFL. Let's just be honest. We've seen Brock Purdy come in and destroy the NFL. Who else have we seen? We've seen Lamar Jackson come in and destroy the NFL. Patrick Mahomes do it. Those are all outliers. The truth of the matter is, you have to build up quarterbacks. You have to build up. Like, you have to teach them how to be NFL. Just like in high school. You cannot expect a kid to know what you know. You have to teach them that. That's why you're the coach. That's why they're the player. It is what it is. James Frank says, Shaquan Darkmary is on Prime is fire. I have to check that out. Mellow Mike says, Tua being injured? Shocking. No. Consistently, absolutely. Tua is a good quarterback with the body of a 46-year-old quarterback. Which is tough because if Tua could just be on the field healthy, would we be talking about him as a top 10 quarterback? Probably. He has the mindset, he has the knowledge, he has the arm strength. He has everything but health. And it sucks for him. It sucks for him. Will also says, if the Dolphins can turn things around, they're lucky they have a tight end, Darren Waller, and he is a beast. They'll have Darren Waller until they go 1-7, and then he'll decide to start rapping again. That's just what it is. Mellow Mike says, Miami has quit on McDaniels like the Ravens have quit on John Harbaugh. I agree with that. And I definitely concur with that statement. The Ravens have 100 quit on John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh needs to be fired today. Mike McDaniel needs to be fired yesterday. If Miami Dolphins wants to salvage a season, I mean, at this point, can you really salvage a season? They're 1-4, potentially going to go 1-5 after this week when they play the LA Chargers. Like, it's just get him out of town. Get him out of town, just like what the Cleveland Browns did to Joe Flacco. Guys, and tonight we're talking about a move that the Bengals fans buzzing. That one that may not mean people that think what it means. Guys, Joe Flacco, yes, 40-year-old Joe Flacco is now starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I want to say this straight from my mouth into your ear holes. Come a little closer. Starting Joe Flacco is not a season-saving move that everyone thinks it is. It is a complete waste of time, a complete waste of energy, a complete waste of resources at the end of the day. But here's how we got here. The Bengals made a rare interdivision trade with the Cleveland Browns on Tuesday, sending 2026 fifth-round pick to Cleveland in exchange for Joe Flacco in the 2026 sixth-round pick. Zach Taylor called him that night and said, "Welcome to the Bengals. Now get ready to start on Sunday." Yes, that's right. Less than 48 hours after the trade, Flacco's walking into a practice wearing number 16, taking first-team reps. The Bengals face the Packers this weekend. And here's the kicker. Flacco's already played against the Green Bay Packers this season while he was wearing the Browns back in week 3. Cleveland Browns actually won that game 13-10 because Jordan Love is trash. So, yeah, Zach Taylor's banking on Joe Flacco's recent familiarity with the Green Bay Packers defense, but let's just be real. That's not enough to fix what's wrong with the Bengals team right now. The Bengals are 2-3, and they're sliding fast. Joe Burrow went out after surgery on his turf toe. Jake Browning couldn't get it done, and now the Bengals are desperate. But Joe Flacco? Come on, man. This is the same Flacco who's been bouncing around the league for the past few seasons like a veteran for hire. Jets, Browns, Bengals, Colts, and let's not forget, he's already faced the Bengals once this season back in week 1. And as a Brown, he lost the game 17-16. And that game, he went 31 for 45, 290 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. That's exactly not game-saving football. He's walking into a new offense midseason, learning new terminology, building new timing with receivers like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and expected to save a sinking ship? That's a tall order, even for a Super Bowl MVP. And do not forget, the Packers know what they're getting. Safety Evan Williams said it himself. We've seen his footwork, his tendencies, his timing. We know he's not mobile. We just have to adjust for the new weapons of the scheme. So Green Bay's coming into this game with film, firsthand experience, and a defense that's already limited Joe Flacco once this season. Even Packers head coach Matt LaFleur said, "I don't think outside of the division game I've seen the same quarterback on a different team in 3 week span." Translation, they're not scared. They're curious, but sure the hell is not scared. The real issue in Cincinnati isn't under center. It's everything around them. The offense has no rhythm. The protection is consistent. The run game is non-existent. And this defense, once the heartbeat of the team, has given up a chunks of plays all season long. Swapping Jake Browning for Joe Flacco doesn't fix that. And let's just be honest, Flacco's 40. He's not mobile. He's not escaping pressure. And behind the Bengals offensive line, he may not even finish the first quarter. You can call it a veteran presence. You can call it a stabilizing move, but it really is. It's a panic button, and they're pushing the hell out of it. Even Jake Browning admitted it. This is pro football. You play hard, you get replaced. He said after practice, "Welcome to pro football. You're going to get replaced." Obviously, I'm pissed, says Jake Browning. But if I wasn't, I shouldn't be here. Duke Tomlin, the Bengals' de facto GM, told Taylor about Flacco's deal. And Taylor gave the green light immediately. Within hours, Flacco was in a car from Cleveland to Cincinnati, citing the playbook on a drive down I-71. That's the last ditch ever to say a season slipping away. Guys, here's the facts about this whole situation. Joe Flacco is not a savior. Joe Flacco is not a Band-Aid. Joe Flacco is super glue on a wound that you should have went to the hospital, War West. The Bengals are just trying to stop the bleeding until Joe Burrow gets healthy, and it's not going to work. Yes, Joe Flacco might have experience. Help might steal them a game. Maybe 2, but this move does not make the Cincinnati Bengals any sort of contender. It does not make them 500. It does not even make them a third best team in the AFC North. He is a turnover machine. He turns the ball over, can't scramble, he's going to get sacked, and he's a 40-year-old old man being asked to save young, talented roster from his loss of identity. So I'll give you this. He's a pro's pro. He'll step in, he'll prepare, and he'll compete, but this isn't 2012 Joe Flacco anymore. This move is about reviving the Bengals season. It's about surviving it. If the Bengals think this is the spark that's going to get them back in the playoff picture, they're fooling themselves more than trying to fool us. But let me ask you guys this, man, our nation. Is Joe Flacco really the answer in Cincinnati? Or is the Bengals just trying to buy time until Joe Burrow gets back? Which, I mean, let's just be honest. That's what they're doing. But was this the right move? Drop your thoughts below. It's a live interactive show. I want to hear from you. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. East Coast time. James Frank says, nurse head scratch to Joe. I think that's what that is. Much love for that magical 2023 season. Pray for you behind that horrible Bengals offensive line. James Frank, let's flash back to 2023. Joe Flacco was sitting on his couch. He had a beer on his belly, a bag of Cheetos in his lap, and he was eating them, drinking them, watching the game. The Cleveland Browns go down to their fourth quarterback at this particular time. They call Joe Flacco, hey, come on and play, buddy. Come on down. We don't have anybody else. Snoop Huntley isn't doing it. Deshaun Watson, Ginger, I don't even know who else had that. Hey, they had that particular season. Went through 5 quarterbacks, and then boom, Joe Flacco. Even during that magical run, he still turned the ball over a hell of a lot. He had a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio in those 5 games that he played with the Cleveland Browns. He's been a turnover machine. He got benched last year twice for Anthony Richardson. Replaced him, got benched, replaced him, got benched again. Then he got replaced by Dylan Gabriel, arguably the worst rookie quarterback in the entire NFL right now. Come on. It's terrible. But Mike says the Bengals are evaluating their roster per Zach Taylor. Code for tanking. They're going to move off Burrow. Cleveland is rebuilding, hence the start of the fire sale. The Cleveland Browns are definitely rebuilding / retooling, whatever you want to call it. The Bengals are definitely understanding that they're in a situation right now where they need some offensive line help. But can they really tank? I don't know. That is tough. But if Joe Flacco is your answer for a tank, you might as well hire Brian Flores while you're at it. Too soon? Too soon on that one? Will Olsen says Flacco can stay calm and cool under pressure behind the Bengals offensive line. Well, Will, he will definitely have to stay cool and collective underneath that pressure from the Bengals offensive line because he's going to be on his back looking up at the stars after he snaps the ball. Ever since Orlando Brown Jr. got stolen from my Kansas City Chiefs, he's been a complete shit show in Cincinnati. He got paid, got those $1 bills, yo. But he's been shit ever since. I saw him up at the New Heights podcast up in Cincinnati a couple years ago. This man had a foxtail hanging out of the back of his pants. This man's a furry. No wonder he's so terrible. Flacco is going to stay calm and cool because he's going to be thinking, oh, man, I'm just going to lay here and collect my thoughts for a little bit. He's going to be on his back a lot. He's thinking he's just got a divorce, got a new wife because he's on his back so much, getting red. James Frank says, should have went for Winston from the Giants. Potentially, yeah. Or, hear me out, stuck with Jake Browning. Because Jake Browning did pretty well back in 2022, 2023. I think he was 4-3, 4-2 as a starter when Joe Burrow went out with that wrist injury. Maybe they should have traded for some offensive line help. Maybe they should have signed Trey Henderson to a long-term deal this season. The season was over this offseason when the Trey Henderson thing would happen. Let's just be honest about that. Mellow Mike says, Brian Flores fits the Ravens DNA to a T. Next Haven Ravens head coach will be Flying Flores. You know, there are certain coaches in the NFL, certain people in the NFL, or college and high school, or whatever, is simply better coordinators. Steve Spagnuolo for the Kansas City Chiefs is a great defensive coordinator. Terrible head coach in New York, but he's a pretty damn good defensive coordinator. Arguably one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL right now. I said arguably. Brian Flores is a pretty damn good defensive coordinator in Minnesota. Wasn't so much a very good head coach down there in Miami. Now, you can call it the whole tanking scenario, whatever that lawsuit was all about. But the truth of the matter is he was not a very good head coach. There's a reason why he was getting paid to tank, because he's not very good. Let him be a defensive coordinator and just be happy being a defensive coordinator. You're winning a lot of ball games. You get a chance to win a Super Bowl. You get those a lot of bills, yo. The stress of a head coach, some people don't want it. And James Frank says, LOL with the foxtail. Look, man, I'm serious, homie. James, I am 100% serious. I will go through my phone tonight. I believe it was 2023. It was on my birthday, so it was April 11th. My wife got me tickets. She couldn't go, so I got 2 tickets. We had 4 drinks on pop, whatever. And I see this man walk out. He has a foxtail hanging from his pants. I'm like, what the hell? So I sent a Snapchat to my sister, and she's like, you didn't know he's a furry? Yeah, the man's a furry. Furry. He has a butt plug in his booty hole with the foxtail. John Williams says, I agree wholehearted. What do you agree about, John? I just now saw your comment. So are you referring to the Brian Flores fitting the Ravens DNA to a T? Is that what you agree with? Because if so, fire John Harbaugh now. Get him out of town. No longer needed. No longer needed. James Frank says, oh, I seen it with the foxtail. Oh, Foxy Brown. Oh, too soon. Too soon. No, never too soon for a good pun. My man, good job. But it's time for panic or patience, guys. It is time for panic or patience here on the old Man Hour Live, Raw, and Uncut. Guys, let's switch gears and dive into panic or patience. Here's how it works. I'm going to throw out a scenario that's happening right now in the NFL world. This is up to us to decide. Should we hit the panic button or should we just slow it down? Maybe show a little patience. If we think it's time to panic, we'll say, okay, things are not looking good. We need to start freaking out a little bit. It's a uh-oh moment where everything seems to be spiraling out of control. But if we think it's more relaxed, take a deep breath, let's play it out type of situation, we'll go with patience. We'll remind ourselves that sometimes it takes time and not every bump in the road is the end of the world. So are we jumping off the ledge or are we sticking it out and trusting the process? Because let's find out in this week's Panic or Patience. All right, guys, so welcome to Panic or Patience. And this week, we're going to start with the San Francisco 49ers. Because right now, that quarterback situation in the Bay is getting a little bit shaky. Right? Brock Purdy is still out with that lingering toe injury, hamstring injury, upper body issues, shoulder issues. He's hurt. He's missed 3 of the first Niners' 5 games. And while Kyle Shanahan says he's progressing, there's still no clear timeline for his return. So the biggest question for tonight, guys, is it time to panic? Or should the 49ers stay patient and wait for Brock Purdy to come back? Guys, here's where things stand. Kyle Shanahan confirmed this week that Brock Purdy hasn't practiced, and they're not even thinking about placing him on injury reserve yet. But that means Mac Jones is likely going to get the nod again this Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And now let's give Jones credit. He's gotten the job done. He has led the San Francisco 49ers to 3 straight wins, filling in for Brock Purdy. But here's the catch. Mac Jones is also banged up. He's dealing with left knee injuries and an oblique injury, both of which limited him practice so far this week as well. He even took a hard hit against the Rams last Thursday and had to get medical attention on the sideline before getting out to finish the game. That's 2 quarterbacks in the same room dealing with significant injuries. And the third, Adrian Martinez, who has never taken a regular season snap in his life, getting reps with the starters this week. So yeah, this is officially uncharted territory for the San Francisco 49ers. It's just not Brock Purdy or Mac Jones either. The 49ers roster as a whole is banged up across the board. Ricky Pearsall with his knee, Juwan Jennings with his ribs and ankle. They didn't practice on Wednesday either. George Pickens is still on injured reserve, but could return next week. Ben Barnes, their starting left guard, is likely out for another week with a high ankle sprain, and their defense is still waiting to see if Malik or Kevin Givens can return from the injury window. So, not only are the 49ers on their backup quarterbacks, they're dealing with injuries and their top weapons, blockers, and defenders as well. This is the kind of stress that can derail a season if you don't manage it right. All right, so let's hit the panic button first. Let's hit the panic button if you're a San Francisco 49ers fans, because you got every reason to be nervous right now. Your franchise quarterback is hurt again. Your backup is hobbling, and your receiver core is decimated, and the offensive line is patchwork at best. Even with the wins under Mac Jones, his offense hasn't looked dominant. It's been carried by Christian McCaffrey, who's doing everything. And we know that Christian McCaffrey can get hurt if he gets out of bed wrong. And let's not pretend that Brock Purdy's absence isn't being felt. The rhythm, the timing, the quick-style offense Shanahan built around him is not the same. Plus, we've seen this movie before. When injuries start to pile up in San Francisco, they just don't go away. They snowball, and they snowball again. So, yeah, you could argue that the 49ers are teetering on the edge right now. But hold up. Before we sound the alarms, there's the other side to this. This is the San Francisco 49ers after all. They've been here, they've done that. And every single time they find ways to adapt and win. Let's not forget, this team has one of the deepest rosters in football and one of the best players in the entire NFL in Kyle Shanahan. Mac Jones has already proven he can run the offense efficiently. He's not flashy, but he's playing smart football and keeping them in games. And if Purdy progresses like Shanahan says, then this might be a 1-for-1 2-week issue. Kittle's return is on the horizon. The defense will be getting healthy, and they're still finding ways to stack wins, even shorthanded. If anything, this stretch could make the 49ers tougher when Brock Purdy does come back and the rest of the defense comes back healthy. So here's my thoughts. 49ers need to be patient. Yes, there's concern. There's no question about it. But as long as the 49ers keep winning football games without Brock Purdy, there's no reason to hit the panic button yet. They've got veteran backup who's proven he can manage games. They got a best all-around weapon in football, Christian McCaffrey, and they've got a head coach who knows how to win ugly. Now, if Mac Jones takes another hit or his team drops another couple in a row, then we'll talk about panic. But right now, Shanahan's got the control of the wheel, and the 49ers are holding steady. So I'll throw it to you, Man Our Nation. Is it time to panic about the 49ers quarterback situation, or do you still have patience that Kyle Shanahan and company can weather the storm? Drop your thoughts below, because it's a live and after show, and I want to hear from you and hear what you think about the 49ers quarterback situation. James Frank says you need to be patient for the 49ers. You need to slow it down, baby. They got a good backup quarterback. Do not rush Purdy. Trust Mac. Mac is a dog and carry the squad while being injured. Now, James Frank, I had this conversation with the Pigskin Pundits on today on the ride home, on the afternoon drive. If you guys ever want to be a part of that conversation, become a Pigskin Pundit. Hit the membership tab down below. And I threw out this notion out there that maybe, just maybe, the 49ers are better with Mac Jones. Maybe, just maybe, the 49ers shot themselves in the foot by paying back Brock Purdy. Because we said this last season. We said it the year before that and the year before that. That the 49ers quarterback is just a product of the system. Jimmy G, product of the system. Trey Lance, product of the system. Who they had before Trey Lance? Jimmy G, Trey Lance, whoever else it was, and then Brock Purdy. All product of the system. Once you paid Brock Purdy, you shut that Super Bowl window, and look what happened. Deebo Samuels is now in Washington. Christian McCaffrey's on the last year of his deal, probably going to be gone, right? Who else? Bosa is going to get paid again. Stuff happens, right? So I agree with you being patient. And Will Olsen says Mac Jones is better than Purdy. And the Niners are starting to get the starters back slowly but surely. And Will, you are exactly right. Now, obviously, losing Bosa for the season sucks, as with the torn ACL, if I'm not mistaken. It sucks. But I listened to a show earlier today with general manager of the 49ers. What is his name? Tampa Bay Buccaneers safety. What is his name, guys? Help me out. John Lynch, right? He says, hey, we're probably going to trade for a defensive end. We going to trade for an edge rusher. Whether it's Trey Hendrickson whether it's a somebody like they're in the process of making that trade for an edge rusher. So the 49ers are going to be there in the end, Will, and I agree with you. They're pretty damn good. Mellow Mike says, this is like the Eagles team when the 49ers ran out of quarterbacks. My question is, this generation of football has regulated the physicality out of the game, yet players are injured more than back then. Maybe they need more padded practices and take offseason more seriously. Mellow Mike, this is 100% facts. This is 100% fact, because when you train your body to be soft and then all of a sudden you go hard, you're going to get injured. That is why a lot of these Achilles injuries that we're seeing is basketball players, for example, last season, right? They half-assed preseason. They play a couple minutes here, they play a couple minutes there, and then bada bing, regular season starts. Oh, 100%. Boom, I'm back, baby. Boom, snap that Achilles. Just like in football practice. We cannot have 3 padded practices in a row. It's too dangerous. Now, I don't know if that's a state rule. I don't know if it's this rule, whatever, but whatever. We do not have 3 padded practices in a row. But come Friday night, we want to be a physical football team, and we're not that because we're a bunch of bitches on Monday and Tuesday. That's what it comes down to. You are 100% correct, Mel and Mike. They need to reel back all this no padded practices, no double practices. Stop being baby back bitches at the end of the day. Stop being baby back bitches, and bada bing, bada boom, maybe these injuries will start. Stop. Maybe these injuries will stop being so, common. Xavier Worthy got hit in the shoulder. He's like, oh, I'm dying. Pop that shit back in there and get back out there, homie. Play it like in the 90s. I'm James Razor Mellow Mike's facts, baby. 100% facts. 100% facts. But what else is factual is the Cleveland Browns quarterback chaos right now. Guys, welcome back to the Man Hour NFL Talk. It's time for Panic or Patience. Now, the Browns just traded away Joe Flacco, leaving them 2 rookie quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, as their quarterback 1 and quarterback 2. Or is it? Because you got Bailey Zappi waiting in the wings, and we haven't really named Shedeur Sanders quarterback number 2 yet, but it's just stupid, right? But guys, the question for the night for the Cleveland Browns is, are the Browns fans justified in panicking, or should they stay patient about the quarterback chaos in Cleveland? Now, before we pick sides, let's remind ourselves what the Cleveland Brown roster actually looks like right now. The active quarterback roster room consists of Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. That's it. With Joe Flacco traded, there's no seasoned veteran under center. Deshaun Watson is on the pump list while he still relapsed his Achilles. He's out there dancing with his wife or whatever, bada bing, bada boom, so he's not an option yet. The front office has been making moves. For instance, they recently signed quarterback Dom Jones to take Flacco's former spot on the roster. Why? That seems silly. On defense, the Browns just acquired Taysom Campbell as a quarterback swap in a presumably to reinforce the secondary that's been under pressure. The depth chart shows ongoing churn across the roster. There are injuries, question marks, and incomplete position battles across both lines and both skill spots. So it isn't stable, it's not a championship caliber roster, and this team is in flux at best. And here's why the Browns fans reasonably should feel alarmed. 0 veteran quarterback experience. Trading Flacco away means there's no safety net if Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders struggle. Inexperienced under center. Neither Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders has proven themselves to blow up games. Roster instability. Key spots are still unsettled. Injuries are piling up, and the structural weakness exists up and down the roster. The defense sucks. Let's just be honest. Right now, the defense is stuck. With the offense likely to sputter, this defense will have to carry heavier weight. It's risky when you're already patching secondaries with holes. There's no timeline for Deshaun Watson. Let's just be honest. At this point, Deshaun Watson is no longer playing in the NFL ever again. In short, structural, roster-wise, this team is not designed to ride out the storm easily. It's going to be a long, long season. But here's why Browns fans might hang on just a little bit longer. Don't jump off the edge quite, James. The front office is clearly pivoting toward youth and development. The trade for Flacco suggests they believe in building them rather than patching. Let's just be honest about that. The coaching staff has repeatedly emphasized player development, not just game results. Kevin Stefanski said this week he'll be mindful of players' development. I mean, what else do you got at this point, right? The defense and other units still have pieces. The experience might accelerate their growth within Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. So get them some reps. Patient might pay dividends. If one of the quarterbacks hold on to the roster stabilities with injuries healing, Cleveland could merge stronger in 2026. So slow it down, baby, right? But if I had to pick panic or patience, guys, I am panicking if I am a Cleveland Browns fan. Not because things are irreparable, because they're not, but because the margin of error is so thin. You don't trade away your veteran fallback option unless you have some serious confidence in what's next. And I'm not concerned, and I'm not convinced yet that the Browns do have a direction that they're going. This roster has too many unknowns, too many holes, and too many elevated expectations to place to unproven players. Until Gabriel or Sanders take control, cleanly decisive, the panic button by far is fair. Push it loud, push it often, and push it as fast as you can. With that being said, if I see big signs of life from the rookies or a few wins in a messy fashion, I pull back on the full-blown panic. But right now, the scales are tipped to concern. I'm pushing the panic button. I'm putting it, sticky glue around it so it stays down and is panicking all season long until Kevin Stefanski is out of town. But now it's your turn, guys. Do you think the Browns should panic and demand a change, or be patient and trust the rebuilding or the retooling or the development process that they're trying to develop? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. James Frank says, let me clear my throat. Let me get the megaphone out. And he says simple as this. He says this. Panic, panic, panic. Panic, panic, panic. Kevin Stefanski, with his new Ivy League education, don't mean nothing in the NFL. Bye-bye, Kevin. Mr. Offensive Guru's office can't score more than 17 points. Get out of town, baby. Damn, James, slow it down, baby. But yes, panic, panic, panic. Mellow Mike says the Browns are still trying to identify the front end of the football they stood on. This organization has been a joke for decades because they failed at top 3 levels: ownership, general manager, and coaching. Say that again, Mellow Mike. They fail at all 3 levels: ownership, general manager, and coaching. The only way the Browns are ever going to be relevant ever again is if they move to Indianapolis at this particular point. Or to Baltimore, or, I don't know, Boise, Idaho. James Frank says, play Shedeur Sanders. And Quinshon Junkins, I trust. That man's a dog. But Mike says, whoa. Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. Andrew Berry is dog shit GM. He ruined that team with the Washington trade and every move following. That's tough. That's tough, but true. That is tough, but true. Benjamin Tucker's back in the chat today. What's up, Benjamin? He said the Browns need to find someone who can get their leadership position instead of keeping switching them every quarter. The Browns. So as you guys know, I'm a high school football coach. The team that I decided to help coach this season has never had a winning season. They started football back in 2005. So in 20 seasons, they have never had a winning season. The best they've ever done is 5-5. 500. Never a winning season. What did they do this last couple seasons? New athletic director, new football coach, new staff, brand new field, everything. Completely cleaned house. That's what the Browns need to do. Now, obviously, you can't force an owner to sell, and unless he, says the N-word on a podcast and he's Indianapolis culture and owns Microsoft or whatever. You guys get him. Get him good. Get him out of town somehow, some way, but that's not going to happen. Clean slate. General manager, gone. Coaching staff, gone. Does Sean Watson sit on it and spin at this particular point? I don't care. Get out of town. I'm already paying you to do shit, so just get out of town. Do something else. Do it somewhere else. But yes, the Browns need to find someone who can get in a leadership position instead of switching it every quarter. Benjamin, you said it perfect. You said it perfect, my man. But guys, that is going to be it for today's show. It's been real and it's been fun, but we are done for the week. We'll see you guys Monday, live, raw and uncut, 9 p.m. East Coast time. Until then, we out.
Hey, now we live, man, our NFL talk, yeah. Now we live, man, our NFL talk. This is the show that you want, NFL raw and uncut. Keeping it live, gotta turn it up louder and get it ready for the man hour, yeah. Man, our NFL talk, let's go.